There was a point in time where I genuinely thought I'd missed my window. Like, I just waited too long. I did too much damage to my back. That my back was just going to be this thing I managed for the rest of my life. And I just remember thinking, like, maybe this is who I am now. I'm just the guy with the bad back. I'm just the guy that can't ever go out when I get invited to play golf, to go to dinner. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video because I get that question quite a bit. Like, is it too late for me? I've had this for 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. I've tried everything. Am I just stuck like this? And the honest answer is no. But the reason why is probably not what you think. All right. So in 2021, I herniated a disc deadlifting, and what followed was it was just months and years of just trying to get back to normal and just basic functioning. Right. Couldn't sit for more than 5 seconds. Couldn't tie my shoes in the morning. Couldn't bend over to pick anything up. I had to do like a half lunge to to pick up anything, even if it was just like a pen. You um, the first steps out of bed when I stood up, shooting pain straight down my leg, into my glute, into my foot, and I was doing everything right. I was a good patient. I did everything I was told. I followed my home exercise program to a T. I went to physio twice a week. I was stretching every day, stretching, multiple times a day, resting, strengthening my core, my hips. Um, Through physio, my physio had me deadlift like 6 weeks in to my plan of care, and that set me back so far. I thought I would never recover. Right, and after months of that, like I just started to accept it. I was like, okay, like this is just my life now. I'm in my early 20s. I'm gonna be just, managing this for the rest of my life. I'd wake up, check how my leg felt, like do a full body scan, and just essentially just plan my entire day around my back, plan my entire day around like how I felt in the morning. Like, was this gonna be one of those good days where I could manage it better? Or was this just gonna be a bad day where whatever I did made it worse? Um, but it got to a point where I wasn't getting worse, but I just wasn't getting better either. And I think for most people and for me, like that's the most dangerous place to be. Because when you're not getting worse, it's easy to just stay there. It's easy to just accept things. It's easy to just manage your pain, right? Because you're like, okay, I got to a certain level where I'm not debilitating. So let's just see how long we can ride this out. But here's the thing about just managing it. It costs you more than you realize. Like, I was in my early 20s and I was already making decisions like someone twice my age, triple my age. I can't do that. I shouldn't try this. Better not risk it. Just stay home. And I stopped going to the gym the way I used to. Stop playing basketball. Stop playing baseball. Just stop saying yes to things. Right? I'm not saying this to be dramatic because it wasn't dramatic. It was just quiet. My life just slowly got smaller, and I kept telling myself it was fine. I was managing it, but managing isn't living, and I think a lot of you know exactly what I mean. But the thing that changed for me wasn't a new treatment. It wasn't, finding a new physio, a new chiropractor, a new stretch, or getting like another injection. It was a question I just asked myself one day, and the question was simple. Like, why does every other injury get strengthened, and the back is the one thing everyone tells you to avoid loading, right? You shouldn't feel it in your back if you're doing this. If you feel it in your back, just stop, right? Like, if you were to tear your ACL, if for those of you who don't know, it's a ligament in your knee that a lot of athletes tear. So if you do that, right, the rehab process, you get full extension on the knee, get full knee flexion, range of motion, stretching, but then you're strengthening your quad. Like, that's the most important part because that's the biggest stabilizer of your knee, right? If you hurt your shoulder, a common injury is like a rotator cuff injury with like a biceps repair, something like that. Obviously, like, early stage, you're just working on passive range of motion, trying to get your range of motion full on all planes. But then eventually, you strengthen your rotator cuff. But the thing with back pain, okay, you're having an acute phase, acute injury, maybe it's acute on a chronic injury. We're told to just rest, avoid, protect the back, just brace. Like, every time you pick up something, just move like your spine's a stable rod, you know? And I think I realized like nobody had ever directly strengthened my lower back, like really strengthened it. not the muscles around it, not my core, not my glutes, not anything else, like my actual lower back. And I thought, like, what if that's it? Like, what if that's the thing nobody has actually done? So I tried it, not aggressively. I think that's the misconception. People just, they go to absolute failure, it doesn't work out, so then they're just like, okay, this isn't the answer, so now I need to find something else, right? But I think the biggest thing for me is not doing it aggressively. You know what I mean? Like, not the way I used to train to absolute failure, but I started at level zero. Just first teaching my back that contraction was safe. That movement wasn't the enemy, and for the first time in years, things started to change. So, so here's what I want you to understand. When people ask me, "Is it too late, Andrew?" Like, I always ask them the same thing back. Like, what have you actually tried? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is some version of, I went to the doctor, he gave me medication, told me to rest. Then I went to physio, I saw a chiropractor, I just did a lot of stretching, core work. I thought my hips were misaligned, so they tried to crack them back into place. Manual therapy, like massages, just quick fixes, right? And look, none of that is wrong to try, and because that's what everyone tells us to do. That's just how the healthcare system works. But here's the honest truth. So so none of that is rebuilding your lower back directly. It's too generic. It's too focused on managing symptoms, too focused on stretching your way out of pain, too focused on core strengthening, too focused on manual therapy. And it's not at all focused on progressively rebuilding direct low back strength starting from level zero. And that's the piece that's been missing. Not for a week, not for a month, for years. And here's what that means. The clock doesn't start on recovery until the approach is actually right. So if you've had this for 8 years, and for 8 years you've been doing the same things, the same wrong things, you haven't actually been trying to fix it for 8 years. You've just been managing it for 8 years, which is a completely different thing. You know what I mean? So the real attempt starts the moment you actually start addressing the root cause, directly strengthening your lower back progressively, starting where your nervous system actually is right now, and not where you want it to be, and not where you were before you got hurt, before your injury, but where you are right now. That's level zero, and that's where the clock actually starts. So I want to be real just about what level zero actually means, because a lot of people hear, oh, let's start from the beginning, and they think that's discouraging, but in reality it's not. It's actually the most hopeful thing I can tell you, because it means the years don't matter. It means the surgeries don't matter. It means the failed PT doesn't matter. It means that none of that determines what's possible from here. Like, what determines what's possible is whether you're willing to start at the actual beginning, not the beginning you think you should be at, not the beginning you obviously want to be at, but the beginning your nervous system actually needs. That might be a really short hold. It might not even be a rep of anything. Just teaching your back that it's safe to contract, that it's safe to load, that movement is a threat, and then just building from there, week by week, month by month, not rushing it. For a lot of people, you've been going through this for years, right? And if you stay in the same mindset of like, okay, I just need to see progress right now, you're missing the point, right? You're not meant to skip levels because you feel good one day, but you're really just building, proof and evidence that your body can actually feel, so that your nervous system can actually has what it needs to finally let its guard down after all these years, right? That's how the bucket gets bigger. That's how your threshold goes up. And that's how you get to a point where picking something off the floor and you don't even think about your back, right? Like, it's not complicated. It just requires starting at the right level and actually doing the right thing, probably for the first time. But if you're sitting there thinking, I've had this for years and I don't know if anything can actually fix this, I want you to hear this. I'm speaking right to you. You haven't missed your window. You just haven't tried the right thing yet. And that's not your fault, right? The system failed you. You were given stretches where you needed strength. You were given relief when you needed a rebuild. You were given generic when you needed specific. And that changes the moment that you actually start at level zero and build from there. So if any of this clicked There are two ways I can help if you're ready to actually do that. So first, I put together a free training that walks through exactly how the rebuild process works and what level zero actually looks like in practice. The link is in the description for that. Second, if you want a structured plan built specifically around where you're at right now, your history, your goals, your nervous system, your starting point, there's an application link in the description to work with me directly. Um, but I only work with a small number of people at a time, so I can actually be hands on. But if you're serious, that link is there. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.